What's going on, everyone? 我是麦克老师. We have chosen a place in the US to settle down, to live, and I'm going to tell you where that place is in just a little bit. And I thought this video might be of use to some of you, especially those who may be looking to move to the US. That is because we visited a lot of cities. Our RV trip has concluded now. We lived in there for 7 months. We were very fortunate to be able to do that, and also very fortunate that our work is location independent. Obviously, there were a lot of things on our checklist that we were looking for in a place to live. For example, being close to nature. As you can see here, I'm about 2 minutes walk from my apartment. Good schools, a decent cost of living, a good airport nearby, a place with good weather, not too hot, not too cold. We like having 4 seasons, someplace not too far from the ocean, but also not far from the mountains. And most importantly, a vibrant Chinese community. Obviously, my wife is Chinese, my son is half Chinese. We want to keep him going with learning Mandarin. And also for my wife, it's just a much easier transition. I get it, you know, I lived in Shanghai, I had Chinese friends, I had American friends, really friends from all over the world. So having that international community was very important to us. And this place where we picked is very international. Do I miss Shanghai? Of course I miss Shanghai. I lived there for 12 years. You know, it's always gonna have a special place in my heart. We were kind of looking to get out of the big city, maybe like a medium-sized city. Definitely not a small town. So here are some honorable mention cities that I think are really great. And then I'll get into the top 3 cities that were on our list and why we chose this one. One city that really impressed me was Boston. It's very similar to Shanghai in that it's very walkable and it's right next to the coast. It's very easy to get around. It has a lot of history, at least, you know, as much history as America has. Great food, very diverse, but extremely expensive. Right now we're living in an apartment, so I'm okay with that for a year or 2, but long-term goal is buy a house. And in Boston and bigger cities like that, just didn't seem possible. We also really loved the Washington, D.C. area. D.C. is actually a lot nicer than I expected it to be. You go downtown, you got the Smithsonian Museum, Aerospace Museum, the zoo, and it's all 100% free. It's a great place to take a kid. Xiaomai loved it. Oh look, there's a bunch of geese. At the end, we weren't sold on it. You know, I really like Florida. The Tampa Bay and Orlando area are really cool. We don't have 4 seasons. It's super hot and humid in the summer. We visited Austin, Texas with high hopes. It's one of the fastest growing places in the US, but I just don't see why. Phoenix was also very nice. Again, super hot in the summer. You're probably not gonna get the 4 seasons there, but in the fall, winter, and spring, it's really a nice place to live. After Phoenix, we continued on our journey to San Diego and then to Los Angeles. If money was no object, let's say I had $5 or $10 million in the bank, I would move to Southern California in a heartbeat. North of San Diego, like Del Mar, Encinitas, Carlsbad. South of LA, like Irvine. Close to the beach, they have great weather. Not 4 seasons per se, but absolutely beautiful, which is why everyone wants to live there, and the prices are so high. If we were fine just living in a 2-bedroom apartment, you know, we could probably swing it. It's not just the housing prices there, you know, the housing prices have gone up all over the country. It's the cost of living in California in general. We were driving from Phoenix. I filled up my last tank of diesel in Arizona. It was about $3.50 per gallon. As soon as we got into California, it was $6 a gallon. The housing cost is high, your property tax is high, sales tax is high, your income tax in California is 13%, one of the highest in the country. That's in addition to your federal income tax, which everyone has to pay. So even if there was a house there that was within our budget, we're still gonna be paying more because of the high taxes. Again, if money was no object, I would love to live there. Then we drove up to Northern California to visit some friends, and same thing, housing prices are very ridiculous in the Bay Area. But now let's get to the top 3. Our third choice was a place we actually visited twice, and that is Sugarland, Texas, which is a suburb of Houston. Huge international population. You can get a massive house for a decent price, although they do have very high property taxes, but no state income tax, so that's also a bonus. We really liked it a lot. It's very green, about an hour from the ocean. It checked a lot of our boxes, except that it had very hot and humid summers. So much so that a friend of mine living there said he doesn't really see his neighbors from May until September, just because nobody leaves. It's just so hot. But the cost of living there for what you get was very good. Swimming pools everywhere. We love swimming. Gas is cheap, food is cheaper. Everything's just a little bit cheaper there. We did think long and hard about that, but there were a couple other places we visited on the journey that take the top 2. Those 2 places are Sacramento, California, specifically Elk Grove, which is a suburb in the south, and Raleigh-Durham area, North Carolina, specifically Cary, which is just west of there. I think both places checked all of our boxes. They're both very similar in that they're very close to oceans and also mountains. They're both well known for their great schools. They both have a lot of internationals and a very vibrant Chinese community. Cost of living in Sacramento or Elk Grove is definitely going to be higher than a lot of places because it's in California, but it was still doable for us. In Sacramento, you're a couple hours from Yosemite National Park, from the San Francisco Bay Area and all the sports and the ocean, maybe 2 hours from Napa Valley, the famous wine region. As far as national parks are concerned, the West Coast just has everyone beat. They're everywhere and they're beautiful. We did 12 of them on our RV trip in total. Xiaomai absolutely loved it. North Carolina is also very blessed to have the ocean on the east and then mountains in the west. And Cary specifically has a very interesting population. It's about 175,000 people, but 25% of the people were not born in the US. They're from all over the world. And again, like Sacramento, known for its great schools. Very important because Xiaomai is starting kindergarten this year. So deciding between those two was a very tough choice. You know, on one hand, in California, you're much closer to China if we wanted to fly back to visit my wife's family. On the other hand, on the East Coast, we're very close to Florida, where my parents are. Both have medium-sized airports fairly close by. It seems like a weird thing to want, but it is pretty nice. So for many of those months, we were thinking Cary, North Carolina. We had a great feeling about it. And then we got up to Sacramento. There's so much around. We know a lot of people in Northern California. And we were in our RV preparing to drive all the way across the United States to Cary, which was almost 3,000 miles away. We just thought, you know, we're here like right now, why don't we just stay and just live here? So our plans suddenly had a big problem. We weren't sure what to do because for a couple of months, we already decided Cary, North Carolina was the place. We were gonna move there. We went to a park one day and started thinking about the positives and negatives. We talked and talked and talked and talked about it. At the end of the day, the place we felt very strongly about and the place we ultimately decided to move, even though it was almost 3,000 miles away, was Cary, North Carolina. So we hopped in the RV. It took us 2 weeks to get here. We drove through Utah. Absolutely beautiful place. And once we had that plan, we could not get out of that RV fast enough. We found an apartment within 2 days. Cost of living is, it's a little expensive. We're in a 2-bedroom apartment for this year. Apartment's really great. It's got a nice swimming pool, it's got hot tubs, saunas, barbecue area. We can walk 2 minutes to the grocery store. We've got Dayajo, which is Grand Asia Market. I walk in there, I feel like I'm in China. And across the street there's an H Mart, which is a massive Korean market. We've got about 30 to 40 restaurants we can walk to within about 5-10 minutes. What I'm on right now is called the Greenway. There are these bike and walking paths that go through the whole city. Very, very bike friendly, which you don't find a lot in the US. It's in a very good school district. Great universities. Duke University is here. There's NC State. There's UNC Chapel Hill, which is where Michael Jordan went. This place is also very renowned for its healthcare. We're about 2 hours to the ocean. You go west and you have mountains. There's awesome cities like Asheville, which are famous for their beer breweries. And actually in North Carolina, if you like beer, this place is incredible. I'm not a huge beer drinker, but I find myself drinking more beer here just because the beer is just so good. We've already met quite a few Chinese folks here, and there's also quite a few people here from India, other Eastern Europeans. Met a couple people from different African countries as well. And with this international community here, like it is, you know, along with that comes amazing food from all over the world. I just ate at an Uzbek restaurant today for lunch with my family. Absolutely delicious. The owner was from Uzbekistan. The waitress was from the Ukraine. Every meal we've had here has been fantastic. You know, I wasn't sure how my wife would adapt to life in the US, but she absolutely loves it here. I also forgot to mention Cary has consistently one of the lowest crime rates in the whole country. And it is great. I mean, we can walk around day and night, no problems. About 70% of the people living in Cary are not from North Carolina. You find that in Shanghai as well. You've got a lot of foreigners there. But also a lot of the Chinese people there are not from Shanghai. They come there for work or other opportunities. I do miss my home of Minnesota, especially in these summer months. But at the end of the day, the winter there is just too cold. So this place pretty much checks all our boxes. You know, if you're looking for skyscrapers and nightclubs and things like that, this is not the place for you. This is a very family-friendly place. Will we be here forever? I have no idea. We're still new. Am I ever gonna move back to China? I mean, I'll never say never, but right now we have no plans to do that. We'll definitely be back for visits. But for right now, we're trying life in Cary, North Carolina for a year. All we can do is take life one day at a time. And so far, we're very happy with our choice. So what do you guys think? Did we make the right choice? If you could live anywhere in the US, where would you live? Leave me a comment below. I'm always interested to hear what you guys say. Again, if you were in the Raleigh-Durham area, specifically Cary, make sure you hit me up in the comments below. I've already met a couple fans here, so maybe I'll see you around. Kind of crazy, even in Cary, North Carolina, there's people that watch my videos. I don't get it. Anyway, guys, as always, stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy. 我是麦克老师，下次再见。